to offer just a little bit of advice for those of you who are out there looking for a job. I have been looking for a job for months now as an engineer. I've got a lot of years experience. In my life, I've never had an interview that didn't ultimately result in a job offer. And I had an interview today, and I interviewed with the engineering director of engineering, and his boss, the director of engineering, told me before I left that there would be an offer coming. So I felt pretty good about that. I thought about it on the way home, and it is a fact I've never not gotten an offer. And I was talking to my fiance who works with the unemployment office, and I'd mentioned a couple of things that I do and on interviews, and she was amazed because she said this isn't typical. And I don't know why, because it just makes sense, and I think it's one of the secrets of why I always get an offer. And I just want to share this for anyone looking for a job. Use it. I think it'll help you. Number one, always show up for your job. I don't care what the job is, if it's McDonald's server or vice president of manufacturing. You always show up dressed one level better than you expect to dress when you go to work. If you're going to work at a place that's business casual, khakis, polo shirt, that kind of thing, you need to show up with a shirt and a tie and a sports jacket. If it's going to be jeans, let me tell you, I don't care if I was going for a job for a janitor, I would show up with a tie. For guys. Women, I think women have a better sense for the clothes they wear, but if you're going for a job in a factory, you need to show up looking better than you need to be for the job. That's advice number one. Advice number two, while you're being interviewed, listen carefully to every question they ask and make a mental note, write paper notes if you have to. But after the interview, as soon as you can, you need to write a letter back to the person who interviewed you. And if you interviewed with 5 people, you need to send all 5 of them a letter. And in that letter, you need to thank them for their time. You need to reiterate the reason you should get that job. You need to ask for the job. And you want to, the notes that you took, you want to reference back to at least one thing that the person who interviewed you brought up. The interview today, the gentleman who interviewed me said, I have been interviewing people for 25 years, and you are the first person who has ever followed up with a letter back to me, thanking me for the interview and reiterating. And he made it pretty clear that's one of the reasons I got a second interview. I find that hard to believe. My fiance tells me that in her experience working with the unemployment office, that nobody does this, and I don't understand why. It's courtesy, and if you want to be remembered, and it's the person that's remembered that gets called back. If you want to be remembered, you need to do that. The third thing is, if you want the job, before you leave from the interview, you need to tell them, I want this job. And I always do these things. Every of these things, you always dress better than I need to be for the job. I always tell them at the end of the interview, if I want the job, that I do in fact want that job. And I always follow up with a letter thanking them, reiterating my strengths, and referencing a few items that the person who did the interview mentioned to me. Try it. I guarantee you it will improve your chances of getting that job offer.